Free all the misled. Free all the misled. Free all the misled. Free all the misled.
Welcome to the 4th annual Conflict Resolutions event. Now, it's now been run by the local services to you, so that this youth awareness conference, we can make people rise. We're not just talking about young people, we're talking about everybody in our community, because we are all important. Today we're going to share things with you that we want you to listen to really, really clearly, because we do want you to get ideas of how conflicts can be resolved.
The issue of young people becoming involved in crime, in serious violence, is sadly not going away. It remains a source of major concern to many of our communities. It's important that, in the face of these issues, a diverse range of people and of organisations come together to share their ideas and to devise effective solutions. This conference will disseminate some of the excellent work that is happening locally, as well as hearing from leading national speakers on effective approaches to tackling young person crime and violence issues. This university is justifiably proud of its strong links with the local community, and I'm really pleased to see that we are welcoming here today a variety of people from around Huddersfield to this conference. Attendees include representatives from local services to you, Kirklees Council, West Yorkshire Police and West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue. From the range of organisations and the numbers of people in this audience here, it's clear that our community is already working hard to tackle many of the issues that affect young people. I hope you all agree that events like today's conference are really important, because they help us to combine forces and work together towards shared goals. So please, can I wish you all a productive conference? Can I also say that I hope you enjoy the performances that are lined up for you today. I think it's going to be an excellent event, and I wish you all the very best with it. Thank you. Youth violence and crime is at the heart of much of the research work that we do here at the institution. We have numerous researchers who specialise in issues affecting young people and ways in which we can bring interventions to make young people safer, to steer them away from crime and to steer them away from violence. Youth crime and violence is a really serious issue. It does cut to the very heart of our local communities, but with an holistic approach and everybody working together, I believe it is soluble, and I think that an event like this is a really good step towards that goal.
So next up, we have a young gentleman called Howard Belenfonte. I've known him quite a while. He's got a lot of skills in his toolbox, from his links to the Chestnut Centre in Deaton, to being coordinator of the Deaton Carnival, and to helping to organise this 4th annual conference on conflict resolution. The team that put it together were winners of the Ashbrow Community Awards in 2018. He is also of proud Jamaican heritage and a real lover of music. And as I said, he was happily born in Huddersfield. So please welcome Howard. He's got lots to share.
So as John says, welcome to the 4th annual Conflict Resolutions, Local Services to You, Youth Awareness Conference. It's a good turnout. Happy everybody's made the effort to come. We appreciate it. The aims of the conference. So we started the conference in 2018, and the aims of the conference was to address issues with young people. So we decided the conferences that we was going to facilitate, we would have young people in the room. So I think it's important that we're discussing young people's issues. Young people are in the building. Before 2018, before we started the conferences, I was going in the schools throughout Huddersfield with the Conflict Resolutions Initiative. And the things that we addressed were gun and knife crime. which is more relevant now than it was 5 years ago in Huddersfield. Gangs and postcode wars, social media awareness, cultural diversity training, social and life skills, respect and attitude issues, education, and conflicts and avoiding conflicts. I'd like to welcome the schools that are present. Apologies to Moran Academy, who couldn't make it today. But by show of hands, can we acknowledge, can the students identify themselves? North Huddersfield Trust School. Where's the rest of the students? Royds Hall School. And All Saints Catholic College. Well, we work with the young people, so we listen to their feedback and we take on board their input. So a lot of their input is they want to be part of the conversation. You know, they want to hear these stories. So, you know, a lot of the stories that you heard today about life choices and the wrong life choices, these young people are at the age now where they can make the wrong life choices. They're vulnerable, they can follow friends, they can follow, you know, the wrong advice. So these older people that have lived experience talking about it, hopefully it'll guide these young people, you know, to make the right life choices. We've all got responsibility. So individuals, fathers, mothers, young people, old people, youth practitioners, the council, the police, the government, you know, we're all responsible, so we've all got to work together. You know, the people in positions of power, they've got to listen. They have to be at these conferences because they've got to hear what people have got to say. They're in positions of power. They hold the purse strings. A lot of these initiatives is down to funds.
I think Howard has touched on how important today really is, because when we all recognise each other, when we all treat each other with respect, it's a whole different feeling to when there are conflicts that are arising. And it's so important that we are kind to each other.
There's always someone hiding the truth, preventing you from seeing the root. To clear up the facts of the matter of a dispute, make sure it's not you who's hiding the truth. The truth shall set us all free. It also rhymes with honesty. A dispute can fuse to a cuff or a bruise, and in certain cases, it can lead to abuse. In a dispute, you'll hear plenty of fiction that will ultimately bring lots of friction. The truth will clear up all disputes, but there's always someone hiding the truth. We're not all going to see eye to eye, but that's not the reason someone should die. We can all agree to disagree, but if we can't, better we see Judge Judy. Thank you very much. Walking with a knife only has one cert. Somebody, maybe you, is going to get hurt. Have you had special training as a knife expert? And do you really know what a life is worth? Now you want to tell me it's for your self-defense. And to meet someone else, it's a death sentence. Walking with a knife only has one cert. Maybe you or someone is going to get hurt. Cred thought the same thing. Now Cred's dead and can't say a thing. Taking a life is nonsense. It will haunt you for a life sentence. Self-defense is kung fu, judo, and jiu-jitsu. It's arts like this you should try and do. Now here's a tip from an obvious clue. You don't have to die to learn something new. Just take a tip from a simple point of view. Thank you very much.
We was known as YPD this time last year. and we sort of like rebranded our name in terms of letting the kids pick what sort of name to go with. Now, what we liked was achieve your dreams. That's what we've changed it to. Rather than be something about what we're trying to do, let the kids have something to like think about, dreams, because that's what it's about. Half the times, the crime that's going on at the moment, some kids don't get to live their dreams or do what they need to do. In the future, we're trying to change that field by identifying this at an early stage, going into schools and working with kids around the areas. What we do is to provide a safe environment for the young people to come and have fun, stay healthy, keep fit, gain confidence, gain a character, and be themselves. Offering training and opportunities to become a coach or referee, or just a member of the AYPD.
What we're seeing today is, yes, it's a stepping stone to where we need to be, but in hindsight, there needs to be a lot more done where the community comes together, because we're kind of looking and kind of putting little snippets here that things have happened from here. What it is, we have to go back, because if a child has childhood trauma, then it'll go right through, which then causes what we see now. Discipline being taken off parents, discipline being taken out of schools, do kids really know what's right and wrong? Because schools are not there to parent children. Parents are there to raise their children to a standard, but due to legislations, cutbacks, whatever, we're living in a society where more needs to be done.
Next guest is a young lady called Lisa Brooks. Her story is very, very powerful. She wasn't born in Huddersfield, she was born a bit away, Halifax. So I want you to give her a warm welcome as she shares with you her story.
Right, hello guys, welcome, my name's Lisa. So I'm going to show you a video shortly of my journey and what happened to me, and basically me going down the wrong path. I had my daughter when I was 27. I then got married when I was 32. I think it was 2012 I got married. My husband was from Jamaica. We got married in England, and then we had our second child when I was, I think, about 33, 2014. Our relationship was quite volatile at times. He was depressed because he was adjusting to English life. So yeah, that caused a lot of friction between us. That then caused me to drink. He had a really bad addiction to weed, and he was spending at least £70 a week on weed. He wasn't contributing enough to the household. We were both working full time. I couldn't make ends meet, and I'd basically got myself into a mess. When I look back, because I didn't love myself enough, it caused me to be very reckless. And I'm happy to admit that I have been reckless. So me and Jonathan drove down the motorway, down the M1. I felt a little bit uneasy. I don't know why. It must have been my gut telling me, We got down there, he got out of the car, came back, jumped in the car. Obviously I didn't know I didn't see what he had on him or where it was. We set back off down the motorway. All of a sudden, I'd seen the sign 15 miles to Huddersfield. So I was getting more, relaxed, because I thought, yeah, we're nearly back. Next minute, I've seen a police car come flying up behind me, blue flashing lights. So in my head, I'm thinking, just act normal, pull over into the middle lane and just hope this car wants to go past you. So as I pulled into the middle lane, we were then surrounded by 3 police cars, and they was basically ramming me off the road. In the meantime, my friend is screaming, he's rustling some package. I can hear, I'm like a rabbit in headlights thinking, what's going on? My mouth went dry, it was like I came out of my body. And he starts going, drive, drive, drive. But I can't drive because we're getting boxed in, and if I drive, I'm going to crash into the police cars. He's pulled out this bag. Again, I didn't see this at the time. Ripped this bag open and it's popped and the powder's gone everywhere. It were heroin. He tried to get it and throw it out of the window, but by then I'd stopped. There was police, armed police surrounding us, shouting, get out of the car, banging on my windows. It was just awful. I opened my car in a daze, my car door, and then they handcuffed me, they started cutting my seatbelt off. He, in the meantime, was grappling with them, he wouldn't open the door. The police ended up putting their hand through the window and opened the door that way, and we got taken and both got put in separate police cars. I was then told I was getting arrested for possession with intent to supply Class A drugs. So from there, I was taken to Barnsley Police Station. I was strip searched by 2 officers to check I didn't have no drugs on me. I was then locked up in a cell for 18 hours, started hallucinating because I'd had no sleep. I got questioned and I just basically told the police I'd give him a lift, and that was it. I don't know what he wanted a lift for, thinking that he was going to stick up for me because I've known him since I was little. Why wouldn't he stick up for me? He's my daughter's godfather. You know, I was thinking, oh, he'll say, you know, Lisa didn't know, but no, he didn't. What he did is he made a prepared statement basically saying someone paid him £200 to pick it up. He then went no comment in the rest of the interview, and when they asked, did Lisa know what you were doing? He said no comment. He wasn't the friend that I thought he was. Me and my friend was then released on bail. About 2 weeks later, I was getting ready for work. 7:30 in the morning, there's a really big bang at my door. There was about 4 plain-clothed officers stood at my door, said they were arresting me now for conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. So I said, what about my daughter? I need to get her to school. I had to go accompanied to the school with a detective, with my daughter, and I kissed her goodbye that day. And all that was going through my head is, I don't know if I'm going to see you again, baby. And it killed me to say goodbye to her that day. It turned out that there was 11 people involved in this operation. I only knew one person in the operation, but yet they deemed me high up in the chain and classed me as an organised crime gang member. So after I was charged, I found out I was pregnant. So it was a very stressful pregnancy. Me and my husband were arguing a lot because of what I'd done, and we were stressed out. I started my trial because I'd pleaded not guilty because I did not believe I was guilty of a conspiracy this big that I didn't know, when to me it was just me and him picking something off, you know. I remember when we came out and we were waiting for the verdict, my solicitor actually said to me, Lisa, I shouldn't say this to you, but we do feel you're going to get a not guilty. I was then sentenced to 12 years in prison. First offence, never been in trouble. I got the 3rd highest sentence out of the 11. To be away from my kids for that long absolutely broke me. It broke me. 7 months into my sentence, my husband fell apart. He left and went back to Jamaica. He couldn't cope anymore. He said when he went back to Jamaica, he was walking around like a madman, like talking to himself. It affected him so badly. I was just so worried about my kids. Like, oh my God, my baby was 6.5 months old. And, you know, I was so close to him. But I know what I did towards the end, when it was leading up to my trial. I tried to block my kids out. I tried to distance myself. And when I look back, I think that's awful, what I tried to do. But I was doing it to protect me and to protect them.
Thank you so much for sharing your powerful story.
Thank you. It still gets me to this day when I watch that. I've watched that video, you know, 1,000 times over, and it's still heartbreaking to me.
What I want to know is a little bit about, you know, what you're doing now. So you talked about, you know, you want little girls in particular to, you know, think about their future.
Yeah.
And how to improve things for themselves to get away from particular circumstances. What are you sort of doing now to promote that? So I'm interested in, you know,
Yeah.
projects you're involved in.
I have done a lot of work in schools up and down the country, basically trying to help young people deter them from that, you know, a life of crime. I've done a lot of motivational speaking in schools. So yeah, that's what I've done in the past. There is something I'm going to speak about in a minute, but I'll just get some more. Is there anybody else? Yep, are you up there?
Is your friend who redeemed 24 years in jail, is he still in there?
He is still in jail. He wasn't my friend. I didn't know him. But the friend who I did it with, he is still in jail, but he got 20 years. I got 12. The top guy got 24. So basically, he's the guy who was supposed to be my friend. He's due out next year. Yep.
So how many years did you do in HMP?
Well, that is a very good question. I was waiting for that question. Horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous in there. Put your hand up, right? This is to the young people. Who in this room could live without their mobile phone? Put your hand up if you could live without your mobile phone. I really don't believe that. I do not believe that. You guys are stuck to your phones 24/7. Imagine being locked in a room, maybe the size of this stage, yeah? Your bed's there, your toilet's there, you're sleeping by the toilet, you're eating your food by the toilet, you're trapped in that box 23 hours a day, no communication with anybody. It's not a place where you want to go, trust me. You get told when you can go to the toilet, when you're out, when you get actually let out of your cell. You get told when to eat, how much you can earn. I had a kitchen job in there. I was earning £10 a week. What is £10 a week going to get you in jail? Please tell me. £10 a week can't even get you out here. So, yeah, I saw some nasty things in there. And there's a bit of a hierarchy in there where the fraudsters and the drug dealers are at the top and then the paedophiles are looked down on. But yeah, it's not good and you just don't want to go there. Any other questions? Yep.
I just wanted to ask, when you came out of prison, how difficult or easy did you find to get into employment?
I was actually on a Channel 4 documentary just after I got out. So while I was in prison, in the last 12 months, you could work out in the community as proper employed. So we had an employment hub in there. So a lot of the women would go to the employment hub and get a job like at McDonald's, at Premier Inn as housekeeping. I didn't want to do that. So I went and applied for my own jobs and I got my own job. You know, I'm a very intelligent woman. I've got a degree. I've come from a good background. I think it was just circumstances in life that ended up making me be impulsive and reckless.
If you could take that into account, did they take your academic as well as your kind of criminal record?
So when I got that first job in the last 12 months, I was working as a receptionist at this money advice place. So I had to do a disclosure, and it was basically a letter explaining what I did, why I did it, and basically reflecting on my bad behaviour, basically. So, but that organisation took me on. So I worked there for like 12 months. In the last couple of months of my jail sentence, I was approached by one of the officers who had told me about an employment opportunity at Huddersfield Job Centre. So they were looking for ex-offenders, basically. They were trying to help ex-offenders get a job. So I applied. I went through quite a lengthy process to get the job, and I got the job. So, yeah. I think it's... Oh, yeah.
How important is family and community, both prior to you getting into trouble and post?
How is what, sorry?
How important is family and community?
A family and community it's absolutely paramount. When you're out there and you're struggling, you need people around you. And I have to say, I am so blessed and grateful that I have got good people around me. I'm so lucky for that. And there's people out there that don't have that. They don't have that. And, if you ever feel alone or you ever feel like you're struggling, you feel like you might want to commit a crime, go speak to somebody first. And that's mainly the advice I can give you. What I see in the community is a lot of single mothers, a lot of absent fathers. Women are doing it all on their own, and they can't make ends meet. And the cost of living crisis has made it 10 times worse. And I think some women are resorting to committing petty crime, shoplifting, doing a bit of fraud here and there. I see it around me. But I get it. I get why they're doing it. But I wouldn't dare do anything like that again because I know where I went. And I know I don't want to go back there, and I don't want to do it to my kids, and I don't want to do it to my family. So yeah, it is. I would say it's rife in the community right now.
My name's Joel Simi, and I would like to speak to you guys about my workshop. My creative expression, music, what the workshop stands for, is a solution to social pressures, adolescence, and growth. I wanted to create a creative writing workshop, something I can host with other community clubs, schools, and referral units. My Chance, a rap poetry creative writing workshop designed to give back and help mental health and encourage these students to embrace themselves, because being yourself is the start of freedom.
Ready when you are, yeah?
BT but you know say that grind don't stop, BT but you know that man just go, no, BT but you know say that grind don't stop, BT but you know that man just go, no.
BT bopping, we made that dance cause when I seen Jill eagerly dropped in then stomped in. Now I'm joking, I'm not with the violence, not with the typing, I just want my gopping. Right now it's been hard to trust my BTs cause lately man have been plotting on it. You're not on badness, please don't make man vomit. Meanwhile it's like Wallace and Gromit, met man Sonic for being dishonest. Them boy there in the closet, batting man, now you don't get no profit. She said M said I'm in love with you, so let me get a peek at you, she's moving, shocking. Meanwhile it's like Batman and Robin, says she knows that she knows we get profit.
BT but you know say that grind don't stop, BT but you know that man just go.
I think the conference today has been very successful. Hearing the stories of the other speakers was very moving, very telling, and this youth conference is everything what I represent. Being an active recording artist, my message is representing strength in vulnerability, touching on the vulnerable stories that maybe the public may not know how to express or may not want to express. So having this conference today was an outlet for the workshop to be in this space, for the performers, ourselves, to represent the music we represent, and it come from a positive place and not coming from a place of gang violence or a culture that is not serving the young people.
Come with an open mind, listen. We know there are challenges within the community and every community within West Yorkshire Police, and we're here to listen and learn and collaborate with the other agencies that are here, the youths that are attending. We want to know from you, what more can we do to serve our communities?
So what have I exactly done? What can I come here a year later and say? Well, my neighbourhood policing teams, headed up by Andrew Barraclough, who's the inspector who sat with me today. I've done some work around the USGs within the Huddersfield communities, disrupting, dismantling, but most importantly, diverting young people from becoming or remaining within those groups. The use of our Section 60 powers, so stop search powers, have diminished. Luckily, that's a good thing, that we've not had to utilise Section 60 powers as much. And I will go on to some statistics, but there's a lot more now scrutiny around use of powers and policing powers moving forward. We still search as many people as we did last year. The positive is we're not finding as many knives. You can interpret that in any which way that you want to interpret it, but for me, there is less young people on the streets of Huddersfield carrying knives. That's a positive.
Serious youth violence is very much one of the priorities that we've got. Since the death of Kyra, it took a little bit of a sort of stock-take moment as to how we were dealing with youth violence, what the figures were, where we were up to, and then what we could do moving forward. We've all got a part to play to reduce youth violence.
So my day job is working on serious violence reduction, and I have a focus on Kirklees. But I just want to start, Lisa talked about her experience at prison. I could ask you how much you think it costs to keep a teenager locked up for you, but I'm going to tell you, it's about £200,000. That's how much for one individual young person locked up for 12 months. What value for money do we get out of that? About 2/3 of those teenagers will reoffend within 12 months because the system's broken. It's absolutely knackered. And I can say that as somebody who worked for 5 years in a Category A prison in the late 90s and who's got experience of working at every stage of the system. So it's a bleak picture. It doesn't work. It's ineffective. So my job is to try and understand what does work and what can work in the community, how we can prevent young people from getting to that stage. And actually, the solutions are right here in this room. It's about those community groups you've heard from. It's about those young people with that lived experience. And it's about you up there. It really is about how we can work. I think, Howard, you mentioned something about collective responsibility, and that's what it's all about. In all my life, I've never known kind of the challenges in society as being as harsh as they are now, whether it's cost of living, whether it's everything else that's going on. So it's about how we can be more tolerant, how we can be more kind, and actually how we step up and each take responsibility to challenge those attitudes and behaviours that we know aren't right.
We're one of 19 units that were established 4 years ago by the Home Office, and our focus is on serious violent crime. We've got researchers and analysts that try and understand what the problems are, and then my job is to try and understand and put some solutions in place, whether that's working with existing community programmes or whether it's commissioning new activity. It's really trying to understand what's working and how we can better support that.
Hi everyone, so my name's Kim. I'm one of the co-founders of Positive Steps CIC, and these are some of my young people and one of our mentors on stage today. I'm going to do a brief introduction into the organisation. It's not about me today, it's about the participants and my beneficiaries. So I'm just going to do a little brief introduction, touch on one of our projects that we have been funded by the National Lottery for, the reasons why, some of the key highlights of the project, and then I'm going to let the participants tell you about their experience of it and what they've got out of it. So just a little bit of background about us. We're a youth organisation, we're a grassroots organisation. We're actually based just behind the university at the Free and Book Innovation Centre, but most of our initiatives are delivered within the HT2 area. So we primarily work with young people in the Ashbrow area, but we do deliver some training and workshops when appropriate from our building at the Free and Buckley. These are some of our programmes that we've done since we started. We're a very small team, a very small core team. All of us do work full-time jobs, so everything that we do in Positive Steps is outside our normal 37-hour working week. That's how passionate we are in order to give something back to our young people and make sure there's positive initiatives going on for them within our area. So the one that I'm going to talk about today is the one that was led by myself, and it's the Positive Steps into Leadership. It was funded by the National Lottery and supported by Epic Consultancy, and it was from the Leaders with Lived Experience Fund. It was a very competitive fund. I only found out yesterday at the celebration event there were 600 organisations that went for this fund, only 59 got it, and we was the only one from Yorkshire and Humber that received this fund. I'm not going to go into the reasons why. It's all about my personal experience and my why into youth work. But yeah, I'm just glad that we was the only one that got it and we managed to support our young people within our area. So, project outcomes, I'll give you a little bit of what we did throughout the project over the 18 months to 2 years. We did 2 youth residentials, 28 participants got an accredited qualification. 13 of these were young people, got the ILM Young Leaders Award, which I'll tell you a little bit about, and one completed the Extended Award with an additional mentoring module. Young people participated in both paid and volunteer work within the community, giving them valuable work experience to put onto their CVs. 15 frontline workers completed a Level 3 Responding to Youth Violence through Youth Work qualification, bringing them together to support future collaboration, because I think there's a massive disconnect in our area at the moment. The Young Battlers Centre was renovated outside and in to appeal to young people that attend the Kirklees Youth Offending Team, or now known as the YES Service, over in the north of Kirklees. And they've also secured just under 3k funding from the ward councillors to install CCTV at Northfield Hall, which is one of the community buildings in one of our primary areas in the HD2 area.
So I got them through the ILM mentoring certificate. It was difficult, but we got there in the end. 30 of them passed, and TJ went on to the Extended. So it's a nationally recognised qualification, and it showcases their ability to lead, motivate, and self-manage effectively. So I'll just let the young people kind of give their experiences.
Right. Afternoon, everyone. That was dead. Come on, can do better than that.
right? Sorry, Howard. But in fact, I'd like to start off by thanking Leon, Kim, Howard, and all you other organisation group leaders. A round of applause for yourself. Just because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. So I'd like to thank you a lot as well. I'd say my experience as a positive steps, well, as one of the participants of it, I'd say it was an experience, of course. I'd like to say Positive Steps has got me a step closer towards my goals and what I aim to achieve. And I'm just thankful for the experience because there's not a like that in the community. And there needs to be more experiences and obviously more stuff like this. And like I say, thanks to you guys, there is.
I am representing Positive Steps. I'm nervous, I can't lie. I joined Positive Steps for the Mentoring and Leadership program alongside Kim, Leon, Craig and Fidel. The sessions with Fidel and Craig has opened my eyes and realised the road thing ain't good. It may look good on social media, but it's not. I'm glad that I joined Positive Steps. Helps people get out of trouble and give us something to do. I thank Howard for getting me involved with Positive Steps.
I'd like to say I'm grateful for having a safe space provided because it's allowed me to be able to socialise and progress in my positive interactions with my peers. I'm going to pass you over to Shan, and she can tell you about the rest of the experience.
Positive Steps is a place for us young people, young adults to go. We've all gone through a lot, especially those that are teenagers in Kirklees. We've lost people getting arrested. We've lost those that we grew up with. So Positive Steps is like a place for us to express them feelings without getting judged. It's kind of a place to forget about all that, and we're able to go out and put improvements into the community.
My name is Idris, and I've been grateful enough to get a place and opportunity to be part of Positive Steps. My Positive Steps experience as a whole has been it's been something, it's been a blessing. There's been good times, bad times, but at the end of the day, Positive Steps has become the people I've met through Positive Steps have become family, obviously. I can't mention all of them because there's a lot of them and I don't want to leave anyone out. But I want to say thank you to Kim, Leon, TJ, Gavin, Anthony, Shan, and everyone else on the program that was there, because they've all helped me in a way, just through the friendship, just through talking. And as Shan said, Positive Steps was therapy, a safe space for us to just unapologetically be ourselves and not worry about any judgmental sentiments towards anyone. And it really just came at a time where it was needed, for all of us.
Today we've seen lots of community groups who are doing fantastic work, working with young people, raising awareness, dealing with conflict resolution, and obviously trying to steer young people away from criminality, as well as creating young leaders for the future. And I'm really proud to say a lot of these organisations who are here today are doing that in my ward, in the Ashbrow ward. A lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resource has gone into the Ashbrow ward to support our young people, because they are the leaders of the future.
My last few weeks have been really tense. I'm sure you've been all watching the news. I'm sure you've been hearing stories maybe of incidents where some of our young people around the country have unfortunately lost their lives. In London, in Halifax, in Bristol, in Manchester, Liverpool. And I guess part of our work is about how do we try to make sense of what's going on. And it's always a difficult one, because it's always where do we start? Do we start with the professionals? Do we start with your teachers? Do we start with your parents? Or do we start directly with you young people? And sometimes in a time of tense times, it's sometimes really difficult. And I think what really kind of hit things for me was waking up in the morning and I got a text from one of my colleagues to say, Craig, you need to make your way to London because we've had an incident. It hasn't hit the news yet, but just to let you know that a young girl has lost their life. And I remember saying to my team, like, I'm not sure, we were waiting on emails, we weren't sure whether to make our way to London or not, but all I just was thinking was, that could have been my daughter. But it's deeper than that because I don't want to talk about this situation in isolation. There are loads of incidents that happen like this, and 2 days later, only 5 minutes away from this incident took place, another young man's life got taken. 4 days after that, another life got taken. 2 nights ago, another young person lost their life in the city of London alone. And as I was talking to some of my colleagues on my way up here, I found out that there's even more incidents that have happened in our local communities and how people are impacted. What's my point? What's going on in our communities, what's going on in our societies, a lot of this stuff is impacting you all. Just an idea of the ages. How old are you, young man? How old are you? 13, 13, 14, 13, 14, 14. All right, let's go to another school. You're 14. At the back. Yeah, you. How old? Huh? Huh? Say it one more time. 11. Thank you very much. You have to talk up, man. Where I come from, our hearing's not great. Yeah? So, 11 to 15 is the age group that are in this room. Couple probably a little bit older. But that's where my concern is. That's where my worry is. What are we doing in our local communities to help and to aid these young people that want help? It's also really important for other members of staff in the room to find out different ways that we can engage more children and young people, and it also might be parents in the room. And you've already heard Lisa talk about developing spaces for parents to also come together, because we haven't got this right. I just want you to think, because a lot of the things that we're doing is about choices and what choices that we're going to make. And unfortunately, there are a lot of young people nowadays that don't know how to deal with their emotions. There are a lot of young people that if they get into a situation or a conflict, it's 0 to 100. We just heard the amazing poet earlier on talk about back in the day. But unfortunately, it's not back in the day no more, because young people are carrying knives. Young people are carrying zombie knives, them big Rambo swords that people are carrying. So it's a different time now. So I understand why some young people would be quite scared to live in an environment if they think their lives may be in danger. So that's also insight to the adults in the room about not necessarily just about raising awareness for young people of why they should or shouldn't carry knives or hang around individuals that they shouldn't, but it's also about building resilience. And what that means is we have to give children and young people strategies of how they can find themselves out of these scenarios and these situations. And when we talk about choices, I guess what's really kind of heartfelt for me is because of the experiences that I have working with young people your age, unfortunately in 3 places, and this is part of what Solve is all about. We say that when we work with children and young people, we're trying to keep them away 3 places. Number 1, the prison estate. We meet children and young people, unfortunately, that are about to or pending sentences for very long times for things that a lot of them always say the same thing, I didn't mean to. Or I got angry because, or my friend called me and said. And it's always those scenarios and situations. I'll go back to my point of why today becomes so important. And in the second place, the place that I think that we don't often talk about, mental health. How are you feeling? How often do you wake up in the morning and talk about your feelings? What about if you're scared? What about if you're dealing with an issue? What about if you're dealing with peer pressure amongst your friends? Meaning if they tell you to do something that you don't want to do, how are you feeling about that situation? And unfortunately, I meet a lot of young people in prisons, in mental health institutions, that have struggled to talk about their feelings. And then it's almost like a volcano. Things happen over and 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 over again. And then things start to explode. And then unfortunately, we start to see the things that you've probably read about in the news. So I'm not here to scare you with this message. I'm just here to make you aware, but at least make you think. And I guess the third place that Solve, as an organization, that we work so hard with your teachers, your coaches, your people that you trust as adults to keep you from that place where we don't come back, the grave. That's why I'm so passionate about this work, and that's why I'm really, really interested about how can we inspire the next generation of young people. Because this is my reality. And I struggle to look at this particular screen because these are young people that were once just like you, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds in the room, funny, loads of talent. Some of them could speak like the speakers that just spoke. Some of them could rap and spit bars like the two boys just not long ago. But those young people are not here anymore because their lives were cut short. And what I find really interesting about this picture, and I don't really like to look at it because it just reminds me of the young people that are in the room right now. Not to put you lot on the spot, but I showed you this image about a year ago, and I'm just going to ask you what's different from this image now. Just shout out what's different with this image now from when I last showed you. There's way more young people on there. So that means then we live in a society where these things are happening over and over and over and over again. Young people. And you know what the sad thing is about these images? The media sometimes like to tell you that young people that were caught up in violence because they was involved in groups or gangs and sometimes stereotypes of the things that happen. And I can tell you a lot of these situations was to do with none of those things. So we know that there's a national problem around this particular issue, and I guess our role, especially today, is about getting young people to kind of recognize where we are at, getting them to recognize about their choices. But then more importantly, I've kind of got a little gem that I want to bring with them today because one of my colleagues and friends, Fidel Thompson, will be joining us. And he is an individual that unfortunately was caught up in a drive-by shooting which left him paralyzed. So I want the young people to get some real messages and key messages today about choices. I don't really want to delve so much into knife crime in particular because I feel like we need to cover more other issues, mental health, you know, young people managing their emotions, young people dealing with issues, not talking to people about their mental health. So I feel like we're coming today with a whole host of ideas to get those children and young people to think about their decision making.
I like to highlight that as youngsters, we like to look at certain things, and when we look at these things that draw individuals into that type of road life or gang life, like myself. So as you can see, some is peer pressure. A lot of people have ego problems. A few other people is for money situations. And then you've got protection, and then you have your environment, because we're all a product of our environment in some type of way. And then we have our family. But one of the main things that I put in the middle is that a lot of people like to skate over is fascination. And when I use the word fascination, I mean it in the aspect of that some young individuals actually are just fascinated with badness. And a lot of people don't like to hear it, but as a young individual growing up in a certain era of my environment, certain older heads, certain uncles, certain films we watch, certain music we listen to, those type of relations or how they're related upon us make you become fascinated with badness. So when I sit down and have conversations with young individuals, I like to get to the bottom to understand what they're into, whether it's what type of music they're into, what type of films they're into. And I like to break it down to them that you can still be as fascinated in cars or artwork or sports the same way some individuals become fascinated in road life. So I do a workshop called the Ripple Effect, and when I was in jail in my younger days before, I was walking, they tried to show us the aspect of your initial reaction can lead to so many variables of consequences. So when you throw a stone in a pebble in the pond, those ripples are consequences. Now, the reason why I use this as an analogy is because when I was at the age of 21, by now my environment had taken a hold of me, and as I said again, fascination means that I loved the road life, I loved the money, I loved selling drugs, I loved, being in that gang-orientated background. I used to go about and I used to think that I was the man, so my ego would kick in. I could fight, I was a bit of a stocky lad, so when I was younger I didn't really take any sort of talks or any sort of zero tolerance from anybody. I think for myself, this is a lot to do with the background of my dad was around to provide, but my dad wasn't at home to basically show me certain things or invest in things as a youth that I liked, as football, as artwork and stuff like that. So for myself, I found that his definition of being a man was what I subscribed to, and it was protecting and providing. By any means you have to protect your family, by any other means you have to make money to provide. So by the age of 21, I was very, 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 very heavily into gang life. In one of the 2 crews in Birmingham, from the Handsworth side, which was Burger Bars. And when I got to that age as an affiliate, I'd done so much work that in the streets and been to prison and the things that I'd done that I wasn't really looking to see the consequences of my actions and the things that I was leaving upon people. So in 2002, I woke up one day on a normal morning to take one of my close friends, who I would class as a good kid those days, to college to do the exams. As I was driving back home from college, we were driving through the area of Ladywood, and we noticed that there was a car that is not familiar to any of my friends at the time. So when we sat there and we tried to analyze the situation, a car pulls up next to me. I'm looking for the mirror, but it's clearly tinted, and speeds off. So automatically alarm bells are ringing, because when you kind of live that type of life, you always have to be, as what we youngsters call, on our P's and our Q's. We always have to be understanding who's around us. So basically, when I got to the top of the road, my car's now becoming into a chase. And as I'm in this chase, a car the same car has come up behind me, clipped the back of my car and sprayed the whole of one side of my car. So I, at that time, received 7 gunshot wounds, literally 1 in my back, 3 in my legs, 2 in my arms, and 1 on my left shoulder. So when I received that type of injuries, automatically my car has crashed into a wall. So my mind is doing 110 at 0 miles per hour. I'm just thinking, how can I get out? How can I run? Who was it? Where can I go to? But I can't move at all. So when I'm trying to process why I can't move, I'm still thinking to myself, I hope that these individuals don't come up to my car and continue what has already begun. Sitting there for probably about 10 minutes, the situation has now passed. A bystander has come past, he's found the ambulance, I'm on the way to the hospital. And as I've got to the hospital, I was just sitting there and they were trying to put me to sleep. And I was saying to them, no, I don't want to go to sleep, because if I go to sleep, I might not wake up. Eventually, through a lot of struggling and a lot of resisting, I remember waking up literally about a week later. And when I woke up, there was my family, my mum. My mum turned around to me and she's like, yo, Fidel, can you move your legs? And I was like, nah. She was just like, basically, it must just be the fact that you've hurt your back in a certain type of way. So it wasn't really till about 3 weeks in until I met a doctor that came from Africa who had dealt with a lot of civil violence and civil wars. He took one look at my x-ray and said he's never going to walk again. And that was the first time that I broke down crying, because that was the first realization that my decisions and my actions had brought me to this place. And this place for me was a place where I had never ever thought about going. I'd done the prison, that was a walk in the park. You know, I'd never been close to death as I had before. But this situation here had put me in a lane that I'd never ever anticipated. Taking me from a young lad at 21 years old to understanding that my life now to the day that I die, I'll be in a wheelchair because I have a bullet lodged in my spine.
My one thing is what I try to push in my narrative is, as I said again, decisions. But I also want young individuals to understand there's a third scenario to jail and death. And I want them to understand that my situation from that type of lifestyle has catapulted me into that world. So every day when now it's getting winter time, I suffer from serious pain, you know, and I want them to understand that this could be you. You know, sometimes we can bang on about jail. So I know kids that go to jail and it doesn't bother them. And, you know, obviously we're not going to have a conversation about the death side because obviously there's no one's coming back from that. But when you have to go every day and you've got to live this way, understanding from the choices that you made, you know, half of my friends who were in this situation of gang life, they've had kids that have grown up. You know, there's other friends that have been jailed in multiple years, and then there's me. And even my friends from my own my surroundings will say to me, like, Fidel, you are our inspiration because this could have just broken you. So that's how I want it to. I just want them to look about persevering and make them understand that there is a third situation outside of jail and death.
We do have special people amongst us, and I'd just like to say Fidel doesn't just talk, he actually does take a lot of action. I've got here that he raised nearly £10,000 for the spinal cord unit where he used to go. So he's giving back in more ways than one. And Lisa Brooks also mentioned, I asked her, my question was, Lisa, when did you change? What happened to make you start going forward after having such a hard life? And she said it was when she started to think she was coming out and she had a future. So positive steps, positive mindsets, positive people around us making a huge difference. And I'm grateful that Howard has brought everybody together.
I'm a Southern originally, and I don't think I've ever been called part of the Huddersfield posse, so I feel quite proud of that. It's been here over 25 years now, so finally part of Huddersfield posse. So thanks for the introduction. My name's Andy Petrie, and as I said, I work for a social enterprise called Local Services to You. It's a real privilege to be here today amongst a huge number of people doing really positive work with young people in the area. And me and Milton are going to talk a bit about some of the work that's been going on in Ashbrow over the last few years, over the last 4 or 5 years really, involving a wide range of people and organisations to build better futures in the area. Ashbrow is a ward in Kirklees, Huddersfield, and it's fortunate to have a lot of talented and dedicated people living there that are committed to improving the lives of young people. However, it does also have more than its fair share of challenges. And a few years ago, we recognised that collectively we needed to do more if we were to make an impact on the lives of young people and avoiding them getting drawn into violence and other negative activity. So there's a long history of collaborative and partnership working in the area, and we brought people together on this topic to look at what we were doing, where there might be gaps and duplication, and where we needed to do more. So over these last few years, we have made some progress, although we recognise there's still a lot more to do. Part of this work is an ongoing call to action. It's an ongoing call to action for all of us to take notice of, to step up all of our efforts to tackle this problem, to ensure communities that are affected at the heart of delivering solutions, to come together to ensure that we bring the assets, skills and resources that we have between us to make the greatest impact, and to focus on providing a safe community where our young people can thrive. Part of the message is we really need to invest in communities. Communities hold the solutions to a lot of these challenges, and we need to support those communities. They're the ones that are impacted by it most, and they're the ones that have got the answers and the talent and the skills within them to help solve this problem. I think we have moved on. I think there's been progress. I think it's an opportunity to come together, and I know from previous conferences where we've highlighted work that they've gone on to talk in schools, that there's connections being made, partnerships being made. Certainly I've learned from listening to the other speakers, to colleagues from other sectors about what we can do. And I think it's an opportunity to reflect on what we've done so far, the progress we've made, but also we know we need to do more. We know we need to do a lot more.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly touch on the 10-point plan. Has everybody got one of these? Yeah, so what I'd invite you all to do once we finish today is use the QR code and go straight to the website, Raising Eyebrows and Ashbrow, and make your comments about today and perhaps even what you might want to see in the Ashbrow ward. I just want to echo what Andy was saying about all these partners. Everybody has been working together on this 10-point plan, and I'm just going to quickly go through them. Lisa talked about parents' advocacy. So the first one is all about parents' voices of young people. The second one is to reflect the experience and build on the campaigns, to promote positive values and aspects of our community. The Examiner hammers the Ashbrow ward, and we definitely have got to change that narrative. Everybody outside the Ashbrow ward might think the Ashbrow ward is full of guns, knives, and all of that, and we definitely want to change that. Create partnerships to develop the curriculum regarding the past, present, to help image and a better future. I guess what you've seen today, you've seen all of that happening in real time in this room today. Acknowledge and respond to the impact of trauma and racism. Everything we've heard today as well comes through the consequences of trauma. The work that everybody you've seen YPD, Ashbrow partnerships, positive steps, Team Kickstart, Temple Wellbeing SHA, employment opportunities, and all the stuff that the police are doing with Wilmot Dixon and West Yorkshire Fire Service is all about trying to address the trauma and racism. Promote youth advocacy and community mentoring. Well, positive steps are doing that. And there's so much more going on in Ashbrow that are doing that. And I'd like to say, if you can find any other ward outside of the Ashbrow with so many entrepreneurs, so many advocates for young people, so many advocates for parents and their families, are Platfog. Yeah? They're literally everywhere. And that environment is thriving. What we needed to do was to bring it all together under this 10-point plan. Focus on rebuilding the lives of the youth who have failed and had their liberty taken away. Lisa's testimony is absolutely spot on about, she's come out, look what she's doing now. We want to work with some of our younger people who have gone away, come back out. How do we reintegrate them back into the community? Establish accountability, community-based economic projects. All the entrepreneurs you see today are doing that, and we want to enhance that and provide training and professional development on programs and development. And Andy's just touched on the VRU just invested £50,000, which has been dispersed to around 15 to possibly 19 organisations. And the last one is to build partnerships with private, public, voluntary, social and faith groups. I guess you've seen all of this plan today. It's working now in real time, and I put a call out to everybody who's here. If you feel you want to add something to this or suggest how we could make this work better, please use the QR code and put down your thoughts and your feelings. Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to finish off on spoken word by Donovan, Lisa's powerful testimony, Joel Simi, West Yorkshire Police, Kirklees Council, Wilmot Dixon, Rebecca Kaplan from West Yorkshire Police, and Craig and Fidel. They're powerful testimonies. Please, young people, have a think about what you've heard today and reflect on your choices. I'll say a little bit more in my closing remarks, but thank you very much. Well, I think when you get a multitude of organizations and people together to discuss a certain narrative, today was about youth violence, youth crime, how we're going to reduce that. I think the conference was excellent in terms of who was here, what was said, and the participation of young people here at the conference. I felt today was a celebration of just how much activism is going on in the ward. And I have to say, although we know there is a direct danger for young people, I think we should also, to balance it, celebrate the youngsters who are doing it, who are doing well. Celebrate the teachers who work with these youngsters every day. Celebrate the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, the community activists. West Yorkshire Police in terms of prevention and intervention, violence reduction unit. All those people, for me today, is a celebration of trying to provide a better present and future for young people.
I just want to recognise the phenomenal work you guys are doing. If you don't big yourself up, I'm going to big you up, because I think it's been incredible. So a round of applause to everybody that's been on the stage and here today, please. So my name's Dee Faridi, I'm from Huddersfield. I know a lot of people already know me in here from my journey. And I've come here today to speak about environment and being a product of your environment. And I'm going to show you through my journey how I became a product of my environment and how it shaped my future. And if it wasn't for certain aspects of my journey, I wouldn't be here today. This is me, don't laugh as well, because this is me with some big chain around my neck. And I was just a kid, and I come from a background of a broken home. Didn't have a dad in my life. My mum worked 3 jobs and was still financially unstable. I held a double-barrel shotgun at 14 years old. If the younger version of me came up to me today, I'd be concerned. We can do all the work that we do, but if we don't change people's environments, nothing's going to change. If we don't change people's mindsets, if we don't raise the standards, if we don't raise the expectation, if we don't believe in the next generation, then how do we expect them to make it out? And so many of us don't make it out. Donovan, the guy who came up at the start, and he didn't know this until I seen him. When I was in year 5, he came to my primary school in Dalton. And because of him, because of that day, I started a career in music. I was able to express myself, my traumas, my hurt through music, all because Donovan came in and did a poem. That's the impact we can have on people.
It's gone amazing. Every year it just gets better and better. It's nice to know what's being given back to the community and how people are helping in different ways. And I actually grew up with Z Faraday, so it was interesting to find out what he was going through as a child to now as an adult he's able to express that, because I had no idea when he was younger. Yeah, I'd just say that when the kids are more involved in doing something productive, it takes their mind away from the violence and the crimes that they're committing, and not always to just assume that they're turning to a different life because they're just being troublesome. They just might not have anything else to do.
Be on your guard, be off your guard, the ops will still take you. Never chose the flicky chose me. Media got it twisted, can't understand me. Government got us listed, minor ethnicity. I don't want to be a statistic to this bloody foolery. 4 walls, my environment is closing in, just like the metal of the blade through the flesh and skin. I saw it with my 2 eyes, how they peppered him. Blood in the crack of the pavements, how unsettling. We're just some kids, soon with the sharks, soon with the fish in the deep end. Got it on me, is what it is. We're not taught to the boy around here. Loose lips, rather taught to the Lord and prescribe me a new fix. Either dead on the ground or inside and out. How we living backwards like it's inside out. Life is comical until you get licked down. Ain't about backgrounds when mothers are screaming out. This is the soundtrack, the sound, what we living in now. There's no end to the madness. Stay savage and pull it out. Stay savage and get around. Not lacking, I'm stacking pounds. Be a pressure to a cabbage. These weapons are not for clout. The change starts with you, then relationships. Break down the noise, void and take the hit. Communication is how we save the kids. New narration, elevation, take the risk.
The inspirations come to the heart, to the head, to the body, to the mind, everywhere. So please, don't just keep it in your head. Share it with as many people as you can. This is about youth awareness, people awareness, community awareness, and it's about resolving conflicts, not living with them. So thank you everybody for coming. Joanne Flowers is out.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you. As she hosted it very well, ladies and gentlemen. One more applause for Joanne, please. Yep. There's one thing. Yeah, there's one thing we haven't mentioned either is our councillors in the Ashbrow ward as well. There's Zarina, Councillor Amanda Pinnock, and Harpreet. Can we give them also a round of applause because they make a lot happen too. Yeah. Right. Just to make it very quick, I guess my last message is to the young people and Craig, Fidel, all the happenings on stage today, what you've seen. This is to you, young people. Choices, decisions, consequences. Choices, decisions, and consequences. Everybody has given an opportunity for you to consider choices, decisions, and consequences. There is a whole host of people in local communities, and I hope today you've seen, feel, and really felt that we are here for you. Your teachers, your community activists, your community organizations, they're all there for you. I want to say a big thank you to local services to you. And by the way, Howard's got a special birthday next Tuesday, I think. Can we all say happy birthday to Howard? Yeah? 3 cheers, hip hip. Hip hip. And another 3 cheers for local services to you, hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. All right, and I want to say a big thank you for Craig, Fidel, who have traveled all the way from Birmingham today. You're an inspiration, both of you. Keep it going and keep on pushing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and see you next year.